Yes. Okay, sorry.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our meeting for Laredo Housing Finance Corporation. Oscar Lopez, who's our president, is out today, so I will officiate. My name is Jorge Gonzalez. So let's start off with the roll call.
Okay, Mr. Zuniga asked to be excused. He's absent today. Juan Gonzalez. Oscar Lopez is out today. Eva Montoya.
Here, present.
And George.
Present.
Gonzalez.
Okay, that's all. We do have a quorum. So the first item is the approval of the minutes for the November 25th board meeting. That was our last board meeting.
A motion.
There's a motion, there's no corrections. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the minutes are approved. For citizens' comments, I don't think we have anybody that signed up for the citizens' comments, so we'll move on to the next item, which is the treasurer's report.
In your package, you will see the last December 2019 bank statement, which is the most recent that we have. Slight movement, no real movement, just some credits. Our normal credits that we get on a monthly basis, so we still have an ending balance, which is similar to our beginning balance. Any
Would you like to
questions?
approve
No,
it? No, that's just
discuss
information.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
we just send it, we just show it to you also.
Okay,
you have to
thank
be
you.
aware.
Thank you for the treasurer's report. So, item 6, capstone.
I don't have a packet. Is the variance reported here?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. We'll go over the
Thank you.
variance report with us.
Sorry
No problem.
for getting here late.
No.
Okay, the variance report is year-to-date to December. Income, we were negative, and reason for negative is that our occupancy has been trending at 90%. Total repairs and maintenance, that has been positive throughout the year. Monthly services, this was negative for the month of December due to invoice for Otis maintenance agreement that was processed in December, but it was budgeted for November. So that was the variance there. Total utilities, we've been able to maintain the utilities at a really low cost due to the agreement that was signed over for the light to the city provider. So we've been able to stay positive throughout the year. Add and promotion, that is in line with budget. Add and promotion is advertising and then resident functions and stuff that we do for the residents. General and administrative, we were negative this month, but this was due to the legal costs for the auditor's report. Taxes and insurance, we've been negative all through the year because we didn't accrue for the MIP accrual. So that's the main variance there. Miscellaneous, we've been in line with budget, meaning that a lot of the residents that have left with zero balances on their accounts. Operating expenses and income is a reflection of above. We were positive for operating expenses. We were negative for operating income, but that's due to occupancy. Owner's report, nothing there. Total debt service, which is a mortgage and stuff, we've been in line with budget. Capital expenses, we were negative for the end of year, but this is due to the 2 water heaters that were replaced for the property. Other than that, everything is on point. This is for ending December 2019.
Can I ask you on the vacancies? So if we're at 90%.
Vacancies, I want to report effective February 1st, vacancy will be up to 93%. 93%, but I still have some units that need to get leased out.
So
The restaurant, nothing yet?
Monday?
The restaurant, no?
Oh, I have information on the restaurant. I have
Do you have a time?
You want to discuss that?
Yeah,
The restaurant? Okay.
since we're already, we can, right? So
We can?
we're-
Yeah, it's all inclusive.
Okay.
part of this.
Operation.
Yeah, I have a
So
couple
that
other
was the
questions.
maintenance report, and then we can go back to your
Sure.
questions, but I do have information on the restaurant. I was
Okay.
approached by Robert Mendiola from South Texas Development Council. They are the ones that deliver the meal to Hamilton for the elderly in the surrounding area. There is some type of issue with the kitchen they were cooking the meals in, which is somewhere in the base, something with the city of Laredo, if I'm not mistaken. He's very interested in leasing out our space, but it would be a short-term deal. It would be maybe for 6 months while their new kitchen is being built. They would be willing to pay the full rent, which would be the $33.75. I just wanted to bring that up to you. If you were in agreement to maybe look into something like that while we find a permanent resident for the restaurant.
Will we look for a permanent tenant?
I think we want a permanent one, but it's just sitting there vacant, so maybe we should consider
For 6 months.
for 6 months with them, just do a lease for 6 months so that we can
Okay. I will talk to them.
accommodate them and
And I
then
mean,
maybe,
we
who
look for
knows,
it.
maybe they'll like it there in the
I
city.
will schedule a tour with him.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will work
Yeah.
because I don't know what type of equipment they're willing to bring in for this temporary time. But if it works, it'll be 6 months. And in the meantime, I can still, advertise and all that
We'll
stuff.
try to fill.
I have had some really good prospects, but, they kind of like, the deterrent there is the parking. It's like, oh, I don't have parking, or, that's the main thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead and look at that and.
Okay, that sounds good. I will
But-
get back to him this afternoon and let him know that,
We can look at that.
perfect.
And on the senior side, so if you're at 93%, how many units are still vacant?
At 93%, I will still have 9 vacant units.
And these are people that passed, and now that's why they're empty?
2019 was one of the worst years for Hamilton. A lot of them passed away. A lot of them passed away. Either passed away or went to the nursing home.
But didn't we have a waiting list
Yeah.
with
We
the
have a waiting
city?
list.
I think we've also had some issues with the units not being ready.
Correct. From those 9 vacant units, how many are ready
I
as of
have-
today?
As of today,
Yes.
I have 6 that are ready.
This is Marcela
Sí,
Cervantes.
sí,
She
we-
is, just so that the board knows, she is our housing manager, so she deals with our waiting list of 100 and plus tenants that wish to live at the Hamilton. And of course, she also manages the rental assistance that we do provide to 100 tenants that are living at the Hamilton. But I know in the past couple of months, she has been expressing to me some concern, and I'll let her speak on it, but I know she's had some concern on, we approve them and they're not ready to move in. So that has been a delay because we've been ready to, how many vacancies have we had? And when I say vacancies we have, is because since we have 100 vouchers that we can give,
Right.
we always call, we do allow, for our person on the waiting list, 5 days, 10 days, if they ask me for an extension, but we're always constantly calling someone. So I know she has had some issues, getting them moved in.
Correct. I have 2 clients that were approved since December and they still have not moved in. I have Ms. Rubio and Mr. Venegas.
Mr. Venegas, he's the one that delayed the process. He's been unavailable. He barely called on Monday and said he wants to move in February 1st.
Correct.
But the unit is ready.
No, he mentioned that in December he was ready to move in, but in January it's when he had a personal issue that caused him a delay. But that's my concern.
That is he's gonna be unit 1205.
So we'll put him in February, he'll be there. Can we get the other 6 that the other 5 that we have?
Yeah, yesterday the inspector went ahead and they gave a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That 6 units were ready from those
Okay.
6.
Mhm.
He went to inspect 2 randomly,
Mhm.
and the 2 were not ready.
Well, I think that since like the whole 2019, we've kind of been wanting or pressuring, because it seems like we always have a high vacancy.
Mhm.
And the excuses that we get here is that, well, some of them needed to be repaired.
Mhm.
And then I guess who follows up on, for them to be repaired and ready? Because we were supposed to have streamlined or shortened the vacancy
Yeah,
ratio.
the issue, early 2019 was the units that were damaged by the roof leaks. Those were fixed and completed. It did take a long process because we didn't get them completed till I think it was March of 2019. Those were leased out as soon as we,
Because what I think is that if we have like a waiting list on one side and we have vacancies,
Vacancies on the
we
other.
should be kind of like, rolling and, okay, there's vacancies, maybe even 30 day, 45 max, where, they get filled in, because obviously there is a need for this type of service, and we have the list. I think that we need to
but we
do a
only
better
have,
job.
excuse me,
to-
we only have 3 more units.
We have 5 vacancies. We have 5, well, actually, we have 3
Three,
with the 2, with it's Mr.
Mr. Rubio and-
Ms. Rubio and Mr. Venegas.
So what can you do in your part, so that way, obviously there's 2 people, which is the 2 that she mentioned. What about the other 3? How long is it gonna take for them to move in? So that way, the rooms are ready, that they're ready to move, because you have them ready, right? The
Yes.
other 3? So what time frame do you need for them, for you to have your
For
units
the
ready?
other 3?
Yes.
Yeah, when somebody leaves, is it like 2 weeks?
Is there like an
It's about
inspection?
15
Yes,
days,
correct.
and then
Can
they
we
have
have
to
like
do
a-
an
can she
inspection
get a-
prior to move in.
A list of what's pending so they can work on it?
Yes,
or-
she was made aware yesterday. Like I mentioned, yesterday they advised me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that there were 6 units. I went ahead and sent the inspector, he randomly selected 2.
Two,
And
And
the
they're
2
not
were
ready.
not ready.
Did he say what was wrong with it?
Yes, one, it was unit 515, it was the floor, BCT had to be replaced, and unit 708,
That hasn't been cleared out completely.
The carpet.
Okay,
Well,
but how
how
long have
long
they
is that
been
gonna take?
vacant? How long have the
Those
units?
Oh, those are already on schedule to get the flooring done. So that 515, they ordered the floor, it should be completed sometime next week.
So-
That is not an issue. The issue was 708 because that's the man that passed away. To this date, they were supposed to clear out the unit, and the provider apparently didn't go back and clear it out.
Is that the one we saw?
That's the one we
That
saw.
passed
And
away
I
on
got,
the end?
he passed away on the 8th.
I know I questioned it because I went to look at a
Mhm.
couple of them.
Mhm.
And my understanding, and I questioned it, because of the condition, this man, he passed away on the 8th. I don't know your process, everyone has their own process on how to, it should be a turnaround of 15 days to fix the
Correct.
unit.
Mhm.
And they're not major repairs. My question was the carpet, and I asked how long the man had lived there, and it's only 3 years. So I don't understand why prior to him moving in, the carpet wasn't.
Replaced.
The carpet's horrible and it stinks.
It's horrible?
It stinks, the whole place, and,
Okay.
and I understand there's light, so the refrigerator's not gonna be damaged because there's food, but there's food outside. I don't understand what's your process, if it's 30 days, then you go in there and clear out, or,
I mean, I would think that
How
there
come
has to
nobody
be
has
like
cleaned
a
anything?
really short period of time in order for it to be continued, like, for them to be available, like, in and out, like, you gotta have a time frame where you go and clean and for whatever reason,
Chicken,
they
please
leave
stop.
junk or they leave food or trash, that there has to be a process where it's quickly done, where they become available.
can they contract it out? I know you only have 2 maintenance guys, and I just wanna say the tools, the stuff they have an HEB card carrying all their tools, that's ridiculous. So they carry the card, I'm pretty sure we can, if they can buy them like a card or something. And one of them, they had done the flooring, it was really nice. I don't know if you contracted out, because at first it seemed like you contracted out, then it seemed like he did it.
No, we contract
You-
the
Okay.
floor out.
Okay.
The floors are not done in-house. Those are
Okay.
contracted out. So sometimes the delay is also the questions of monies, especially right now that we have a high volume of units. Budget only allows, we do,
How much
Okay.
is the budget? Was it like 8,000? How much is the budget, the budget
I
was for?
well, I would need to
I
check
think I
it,
saw
yeah.
$1,000, and
1,000?
But not per month.
8,000?
8,000?
But
A
not per
year.
month.
No, a year.
A
For
year,
the
yeah.
year.
So, because we kind of break it
Yeah.
up through the many,
Mhm.
we kind of project how many we're gonna do per year.
Right.
We've had a big volume of units done this 2019. We had a big volume of units done, and then we're still working on the remnants of 2019 that, that have left. But the floors are contracted out. The cleaning, painting, all the make-ready stuff, the blinds and stuff, that's done in-house.
Yeah,
So it's just the flooring that's contracted out.
yeah, and also the.
And that was effective, if I'm not mistaken, that was effective 2018, as instructed by the board, is to remove carpets at make-readies and install VCT flooring. So that hasn't been
prior to
very
that,
long.
it
Prior
wasn't.
to that, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, because.
You were just renting a messes.
We were shampooing, trying to salvage the carpets. If they were in
No,
really
but
bad
if they-
shape, we were
if they
we
stink
were
and-
replacing
and
carpets,
whatever.
yeah. Mhm.
We had to
And
replace.
the halls, the walls are.
También.
Do
They
you
need
guys
to
do
be
like
cleaned or-
regular inspections?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
where like if they live there, like do you guys do and see so that you won't get
When was the last
so
time we went to-
damaged to where the point where
Yeah,
they, when
sure.
they
We
leave?
we do walkthroughs, we do inspections, but we have all types of tenants. You can go in there and inspect and.
No,
Mhm.
Either for the next board meeting or before then, we'll schedule where the board will walk through and just look at the property,
I mean, I just think that
just to
we
get an
need
idea.
we need to bring down the vacancies ratio down, and only because we've always had a problem with, you know, trying to fill out those.
It should be 15 days.
But I think that as
If
soon
it's
as they,
not in really
if-
bad
if it's not a bad-
condition.
If it's not in really bad shape, it's 15 days.
Okay.
If we need to order major stuff, like new sinks, new stuff, whatever, new cabinets,
So
then
you
yes.
don't have them in stock, like one or two or three?
We have maybe like one sink, we have maybe one or two commodes, but we don't have like bulk in
Yeah.
stock, no. Mm-mm.
They go on by. So let me ask you a question. So if somebody passes away on the 5th of the month,
Mhm.
and in 2 weeks, yeah, it's the 20th, do we wait until the 1st of the following month to rent it, or
That should be
No,
before. They
it should be
done the
before.
process
Mhm.
before.
so
So you don't waste time.
so we don't waste time?
Should be before. Then
We
that's
got
how
we,
we do it.
we got to work on that process.
Yeah.
To
If
make
there's
sure.
like a legal process, you can't just go in and clean up the place and put it in storage or
If you got
something?
it, I think if you get a formal, notice that they're leaving on this date, yes, you can. But I think what happens is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but what happens is if they pass away,
Yeah.
then there's a process that
Yeah.
she has to wait
Yes.
for, and that's what happens, she has to wait for actually a family
Family
member to
member.
come in
Mhm.
and collect their stuff.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, most times you won't get the family member to come in.
No.
Or
And
it's the
it's-
only time you see family
Yeah.
members.
Yeah. Or
Either it could
you
be
end
both,
up just
uh-huh.
the palomita shows up, the provider
But you
shows up,
can go in
she
and clean
cleans
out the
up.
refrigerator and the food.
Well,
and-
technically, it's still.
It's still their property.
It's still someone's property.
Mhm.
It's
Pero-
still someone
but,
else's
let's-
property.
you know, let's say that, the person passes away on the 15th, but obviously the rent is on the 30th, I'm assuming se acaba the 30th, right? So at that time, some type of action needs to be, because we are not gonna be waiting there until like, oh, a ver quién viene.
Because now you lose another
Because
month.
then she doesn't
What does
get it
compliance
moving,
tell
and then-
you on that side?
Example, they pass away on the 20th of the month. We have to give them a process for the family to claim. And legally, they're paid up to the end of the month. So
Okay.
by the end of the month, if I don't hear from a family member or here are your keys, we've already cleared out the unit, then we go in there on the 1st, and that's already our unit. We can start, cleaning it out and doing whatever that needs to be
But
done.
if
That
they're
is the
paid to
process.
the end of the month, they're
Yeah,
paid through.
they're paid to the end of the month. Mhm.
And my concern, because we have those issues, is the fridge, like, even though. we
There's
have
power.
it- Yeah, but sometimes still the food,
Yeah.
goes bad, it stinks and that messes up the fridge, like,
Yeah.
it has that smell.
That smell. Mhm.
And then you have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So now what do? Do you have one or two in stock, or you have to go buy?
We'll go buy them.
We have to buy.
Yeah.
We have to
Well,
buy.
let's try to coordinate between
walkthrough?
your area and their area so that we really shouldn't have vacancies at
We
home.
shouldn't.
And I know you only have 2 staff members, I understand, but let me give you an example. We have 319 units in the noise abatement, and we only have 4 building maintenance mechanics. The other one's just a helper. And
So I think,
it can be done.
I think what we need to, I think what we need to discuss and maybe in our next meeting, I know Sonia had sent me a budget
Mhm.
that she needed approved. I thought she was gonna show up today to present that budget to the
Oh,
board.
okay. Mhm.
So the board needs to look at that budget, that yearly budget, and really have maybe a workshop. Maybe the next meeting is actually a workshop. We take, I'll keep the items to a minimum so that you all can really discuss the budget and really look at it. If she can forward it to me again, and I
Forward
can
the
forward
budget?
it, yeah, and we can forward it to the board members so they can take a look at it. prior to, and then we can set a meeting and we'll discuss, that's one of the items, your yearly calendar, we'll discuss it. But I honestly think that budget needs to be reviewed by the board and really, to see how feasible is it to maybe hire another, do they need more, maintenance? Do they need more budget to maybe, contract out? I mean, what are the issues that are arising and
No,
where is this?
as far as the work that can be done, yes. But remember Hamilton, they spend about, let's say about an hour in the morning hauling out the trash, and then another in the afternoon, like lunch, morning, noon, and then in the afternoon, because then you get the trash stacking up in the basement. So that's kind of like
So there's 3 hours a day that
3 or 4 maybe, like the weather right now, and it's like
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and then
And
it's like
they work 8 hours.
they work 8 hours. They have to come in on weekend to do that trash also.
So
They
you're
have-
also
they have-
paying them on the weekend?
We have
come
to
in?
pay them on the weekend to come Saturday and Sunday to come
So
haul
that's
that
the
trash.
problem.
Yeah, so
That
that's
is
what
one
I'm
of the
saying.
things, and God forbid that something goes wrong, a leak or whatever, because then everything stops. They have to dedicate it to whatever,
So that-
because, yeah.
And do you ever have issues, one of them calls in sick, and then what do you do with one person? Can you
Yes, sir,
handle it?
that happens,
Yeah,
that
see those,
happens,
sir?
So you have 2 people?
Only 2 people,
And these guys are certified to do what?
One is AC certified, and the other one is just your maintenance,
Maintenance?
general,
A little bit of everything,
a
or-
little bit of everything.
Do you see them throughout the day? I'm not saying
Oh,
that
yeah.
they don't do anything, but,
Yes,
you know,
we have a system for work orders. Actually, all work orders have to come through the office. They are entered into a system we have, open work orders, closed work orders. So throughout the day, that's how I distribute their work orders. And then for them to report to me every morning, and then before the end of the day, and if something happens at 5 o'clock, only one of you can stay, not both of you can stay, you know, it's like, okay, work on it.
so
Clock out.
how often does it happen that you have those work orders and you have other stuff that's pending and it stays pending a day or 2 or 3? In other words, that you could justify hiring somebody else? Do you need somebody else, or can these 2 guys handle it?
Organize a little bit.
Or get organized?
I think if
That's
we
the
organize a
question.
little bit better as far as, organize a little bit better as far as, and it's not the supplies can be ordered, they're here within 24 hours,
Mhm.
you know, all that. It's more of organizing the structure there at Hamilton, especially with the trash issue, some of the plumbing issues that we haven't had any, thank God, because now with all the repairs, those are getting minimal. But I think better organization better time management, if you say that's.
Sarah, but these 2 individuals, they don't, like when there's a vacancy, like in this case where they,
Mhm.
you know, they need to do some repairs
Mhm.
at the,
One of them one
But
per unit. Mhm.
You say that most of the items you contract outside.
No, we
Like
just
the floor?
contract the floor, that's
Just
it.
the floor. Everything else is-
Painting is an in-house, painting, the cleaning, taking out the fridge, taking it to the basement, cleaning it, bringing it back up, the stove, the same thing, all that is done in-house. They do this.
Okay.
Which a housekeeper, maybe a housekeeper would not be a bad idea. Housekeeper could do just the general, clean the halls, once they go in there and paint and,
Maybe we should look at that.
and then a housekeeper would be a better,
And they, just suggestion, they can have like a contract or go out on bids, I don't know how it works.
The thing is that I think we need to start with the
But-
budget. We need to see how much is actually coming
Yeah.
in,
Alright.
and how much are they already spending on the salary that is already out there right now, and on the repairs. I think we just need to look at
We need to
that.
look at it, because if you can handle your program with more,
But it's double.
for 4
triple
people, with 4
units.
people, then we ought to look at efficiencies and see what are we doing right and where can we
Maybe
improve.
the timing.
The only
Yeah,
other
we can look at
difference,
yeah, mhm.
the only other difference is what she charges in rent and what we charge in rent. There is a difference.
Okay. No, I know.
There is
So-
a difference.
So we'll look at that, so.
So we need to look at all that, what is actually.
You don't have a compactor, a trash compactor in Nevada?
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
The what? I'm
The
sorry.
trash compactor, it would fall in there and it would just compact it and later on they just take it
That
out.
has never been considered.
That's a
Never
good
been
idea.
considered. It's done the
You
old
have to do it
fashioned
3
way.
times a day and weekends and.
That might be
Yeah.
something.
Maybe we should look at
Let me
that.
write that down. Pero,
Should we look at
But it
that?
falls, it
So all
should
you
fall
do-
into that
yeah.
area, no?
Yeah, so all
Yeah.
you do is
The-
like you're
compressing it and then
Yes.
hauling it out. And
They-
at
so they all
shorter
have
spans.
chutes?
Mhm.
Remind
They
me.
have shoes and then they
Yes.
fall into that?
The chutes, the
Each floor.
old-fashioned chutes.
Each floor
has
Each
a
floor.
chute.
Mhm.
Then we ought to look at that.
Yeah.
Try to figure out a way to become more efficient,
Or
Efficient.
hire just a person
just for that.
for that.
Well, just keep in
Every
mind that
part-time, they just
A
come and do it,
part-time.
yeah.
vacancies
Vacancies are
hurt,
part-
hurt your budget. so
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
so we need to
That's
work on-
incoming
We
money.
need to work on
Mhm.
that.
Okay. All right, that's good discussion.
Okay. I don't know if you would like to move up, if there's any other further
But-
discussion on 6, I don't know if you wanna.
Because
move up
we're done,
8.
right? You're done with
Yes,
that? That's
unless
our
you have any
discussion.
more
No.
questions. Uh-huh.
So, but just going back to the, Robert, Mendiola, you're gonna bring us at least,
Which
or
one?
you're
Well,
gonna work on that?
I'm gonna work on
Right.
this to see if it's gonna
He has a
be
request
feasible
right
for
now.
him, because
Okay.
remember, the restaurant,
Is
the
it-
area is,
Yeah,
No,
the kitchen and the dining area. I don't know what type of equipment he thinks we have. The only thing we have in there is the extractor. We don't have the stove, we don't have the equipment.
No.
So if it's gonna be feasible for him and he's
It's gonna be
interested,
on
yes,
them.
by means, and I'll email him as soon as I get back to the office.
Yeah, let us know.
And what type of advertisement are you using? What?
I know Capston is
channel?
doing, well, we have the sign there on site, I think Craigslist, if I'm not mistaken,
I don't know.
and Facebook. That is what,
And then, why don't we just hire a realtor? To look for a good tenant.
That question was proposed in the
and
last board.
I did question that. I think it.
Well, if we're gonna
fees,
get these
to get a
people in there
fee.
for 6 months, yeah, we should still hire a realtor and.
To get a good, long-term tenant.
It's because we need to list that property properly.
Because
I don't think listing it like with a sign outside
That
and,
won't work.
and Craigslist, you're not
No.
gonna get, an
Oh,
adequate
Facebook.
tenant.
Who
No,
uses Facebook nowadays?
no, so you need, we honestly
Only if you're
need
popular.
someone to put it in, you know,
There has to be some type of
listing.
advertisement.
It has to be,
So do we have to go through a bid process or whatever to get a realtor? or what
I
happen-
think,
what do we- How do we get a realtor?
I
That's my
think,
question.
I would just,
somebody that,
contact one.
I think-
that,
I think-
somebody
We can
that
get-
specializes in those type of.
commercial,
things.
we can get
Commercial
two or three,
basis.
people to,
yeah, I think that's
Oh.
up to the management company. I think the management company would need to go
I
out
will bring it up
and
to
look at
Sonia.
quotes. I mean, they can reach out to local realtors and see what
Yeah,
the
to be fair.
what the going rate is. Maybe they reach out to a few
Yeah.
that have, you know,
That
any
specialize in
expertise,
in commercial.
specialize in commercial properties. We don't want a residential realtor, we
Right.
want a
No.
commercial.
So would you look at that? Let's see which.
Yes.
And
one.
then maybe you can bring to the
Right.
board some prices,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
some
Let's do that.
fees. It's usually gonna be a fee.
No, they usually take the
percentage.
first,
The
the
percentage.
first month's rent.
Mhm.
Okay.
Usually that's what it is.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, for their commission, or? oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, find out what,
It's not-
yeah. what
it's
they-
not the average, it's 1 month,
Yeah, month rent.
1 month.
I think we need to do that, so. we'll-
Otherwise, it's gonna be sitting there too.
Yeah, we'll look at that at the next meeting. So now we're on item 7, the discussion and possible action of financial audits performed by Cohen Resnick.
So I just wanted to give the board an update. We did receive an IRS letter, which is attached in your packet. We were gonna be assessed a federal tax lien, based on the late filing of the tax returns. It all comes back to the audits and the tax returns that we've been trying to, catch up with. So we did receive, that notice, so right away I reached out to Resnick, which is, the ones that have been doing our audits and our taxes, and I asked them, you know, if they could help me out with this notice, if there's something that they were familiarized, they said that they were. We executed a little agreement that they would work on our behalf, and Mr. Zuniga signed off on the agreement. They charged us a nominal fee of, I wanna say it was $500, I think. So what they did is they worked on our behalf, we signed a power of attorney, they represented us, they spoke to it, and I'm supposed to receive a formal letter from the IRS, but what I included right now was an email from Resnick letting us know that they did speak to them, and that they will eliminate the fee and the interest associated with this tax lien for this one time, since it was our only time that we've done it late. So we should be receiving a letter in the next 7 to 15 days. So as soon as we have that, I'll share it with the board, but so we're good on that. On the other note, I just wanted to update you all also on the one for, on the audit that we responded to HUD. HUD has not responded back to us on, we asked them to waive it also for it being our first time. So we're still waiting. We sent them a reminder email. We did get it certified that they did receive the letter, so it was sent. So we're just waiting for them to let us know how much, if anything, we're gonna be assessed by HUD. And that's all I have on that.
Okay. Item 8, discussion and possible action request from Crown Castle on the Hamilton Rooftop.
Oh, so we have Mr. Gary,
Okay.
Yeah, well, this is probably the 4th or 5th time we've visited with you guys on this item. The last time we were here was in the summer of last year to get approval to place antenna panels on the actual tower. You could, where they're supposed to go, rather than the billboard. I think we entertained that idea as well. So nothing on our request now is changing as far as the scope, other than accommodating the equipment runs that go up to the rooftop. Our engineers came back, and our contractors, and said using the existing conduit run, which is internally, would require significant modification to each floor. And that would, of course, be pretty disturbing to people that live there. So they proposed coming up with an equipment run, and in your packet there are pictures before and after. So what it would look like, another one of the I guess these gutter runs, or it would match there. The State Historic Preservation Office came back and said they want that conduit run to match the building.
So you gotta get the brick to match it, 'cause
So
that's what you have in this picture.
Right, so we had to come back and make modifications
To make it look the same.
to ensure that conduit blends in with the building. So, because originally we were gonna have it match the gutter run, the runs, and they said, no, you need to match the building. So that's the proposal, to avoid having to modify each floor of that chute to bring the cables up. We're gonna go to the side of the building and do that. Of course,
That's at your cost, right? We're not, all we're doing.
no, you guys are paying everything. No.
I just wanted to.
No, this would be obviously our cost. So, of course, after this, it would still go through the historic review again. And then again, we would have to submit the plans for an amendment to the original building permit. So we have all of our approvals now for it, but this option allows us to go on the side rather than, disturbing interior. That's just not something. So, and then just to kind of piggyback on that, we've kind of structured this little conduit run so that we can accommodate in the future. So if other carriers want to go on there, it would be enough room for them to bring any equipment they need up that same that conduit.
You will be requesting also, you will be having to take this to the local historical board, right? So that does require the board to authorize him to sign off on the application.
Right.
Approval for him, because the board does, although he has a lease on the rooftop, they do require the owner to be okay with submitting the application. So if y'all motion to be okay, what we do is, Gary will get that application signed by the president, and then we will, we'll take it from there.
So we need a motion to do that?
A motion to move forward.
A motion by Juan?
Second.
Second by Emma? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's do that.
Okay.
and just get all the permits and do everything
Right,
you're
yeah,
supposed to do.
we go through.
We don't want to, well, because then having to deal with,
Right. Oh, these are copies of what's in your packet.
blind.
Absolutely.
no, it looks good. I mean, if you can get it to look like that, where it blends.
Right, and that was the challenge we had with the state, because everything we do on the building goes through the state historic office, in addition to the Laredo board, the historic board as well.
It actually looks better than the gutters,
Well, yeah.
but anyway, that's another story. Okay. So then you'll run with it.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
So just let me know when your application is ready and I'll get the proper signatures on it.
Yeah, it's this, it'll be the same.
The same?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll probably have it to you, but by the end of the week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 9, discussion and scheduling of board meetings. Do we have a proposed calendar and then,
No, that's what I was gonna want for y'all to let me know. I know last year we were doing the third Wednesday of every, that's what we were,
do we, I guess the question
No,
is, do we need to meet every month or can we meet every other month?
I mean, I
And-
think,
And we can take care of business by email when we need to, on the months that we,
I think it's been working out good like that. I mean, when I need something signed, I mean, we
do
just
we
let
change it to
them.
every other month? Are we meeting every other month? or-
We're meeting every other month.
Okay, so,
Well, we keep that.
okay.
You wanna keep
Keep
it,
it- keep
so
it-
every other month,
Keep it that way.
and you want to do the third?
Depending on
We can,
what falls on the
Okay.
third.
because
Yeah,
we all
so
get
this
busy,
one.
so as long as we try to get a quorum and
Okay.
it would be nice if you could send out the calendar ahead of time, that way
Yes.
we all block it and we can start looking at it. And then at the next meeting, we'll discuss the positions, the officers for,
Yes. And so and I'll just set up, so in 2 months would be March. Now I know March has spring break. Would you all want us instead of being the third Wednesday, you all wanna push it to the fourth Wednesday, or are you all
yeah, move
okay
it so,
with 18?
no, move it so that people,
So the
yeah,
25th?
yeah, we'll change it for that one.
So what
because
I
it's spring
can
break.
do, what I'll do is,
We don't want to tour next month over here.
We should try to set up a tour next month when we don't have a meeting.
okay,
Let's
Okay.
do
Yeah,
that.
we can do that.
Help us set up a tour.
yes, we'll set up a tour next
So we
week.
can look at that.
So tour in February and meeting until
In March,
March
the
the
25th.
25th, and then I'll go from there and I'll send you all like
The
a
calendar.
proposed calendar.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, like the third week of February, since when
Yeah.
is Washington celebrations?
So it all starts soon. It starts on Thursday. Yeah, well, so the last item is a motion to adjourn. Motion by Eva, second by Juan, all in favor? Thank you, good meeting. Thank you guys for joining us.
There's food.